Good morning, friends and viewers. Thank you for viewing this video. This is a fourth video lesson in the series of video lessons on the topic called force systems. In the first video lesson, we have seen what is a force, with their definitions, types of forces, vector quantity or scalar quantity, their SI units, and all these things we have seen in the first video lesson. In the second video lesson, we have seen system of forces or force systems. We have designed a proper definition for force systems. And we have seen various types of force systems in the second video lesson. In the third one, we have seen resultant force, what exactly resultant force, and how to calculate the resultant force for a collinear or coplanar force system, especially when two forces are there. So in that we have used what we call we have seen parallelogram law of forces, in which two forces are there which are concurrent as well as coplanar, and with some angle, there is an angle between the two forces. Then we can calculate by using the resultant force by using parallelogram law of forces. So in this video, we are covering four topics. One is resolution of force of a force. Second one is triangle law of forces. Third one is polygon law of forces. And fourth one is Lami's theorem. And we will try to solve some problems on Lami's theorem. So let us go with the resolution of a force. So what is a resolution of force and all these things? I would like to share a PPT prepared by me on this. So let us go with this PPT, and accordingly we will go through all these topics. So as I said, we are covering all these things: resolution of forces, triangle law, polygon law, and Lami's theorem. And I am Anand Padavala. I'm a senior faculty member in the Department of Technical Education, Government of Telangana. So especially these videos are very much useful for the diploma students and also useful for the engineering graduates. So this is very helpful for them to understand the basic concepts on these lines. So let us start with the resolution of force. So resolution of force. In the earlier, we have seen resultant of a force. In that, we have said that resultant of force means in a force system, that means a system consisting of more than one force. There will be many forces in the force system. If we can replace all these forces with a single force, which will have same effect of all these forces, is called resultant force. Resultant force is different from resolution of a force. Resultant force is combining all forces and make it into one. Whereas resolution of force is nothing but one force, single force, is resolved into two forces. That means we are converting a single force into two forces. That is called a resolution of a force. So before we go to the proper definition, let us see this. So here we have a pet dog, and often we will tie a chain to its neck and we will go through. And the force that we apply here is a single force. That force will be there. So this force, if we can split this force into two forces, and the two forces should have the same effect of these single force, then we can call it as that two forces are the resolution of this single force. So this, see here, this is a inclined force, a single force, and now we are converting this force into two different forces. This is, one is a horizontal force, other one is a vertical force. Both will have same effect. Whatever the force that is applied here, the same thing will be applied here. But only thing is you will have only single component here and you will have two components here. That means making a single component into two components is called resolution of a force. So here we see the upward and rightward force. This is upward and rightward force of the chain is equivalent to an upward force and a rightward force by two chains. That means a single chain it is used here. If we use these two chains, that means controlled by other person and this also controlled by other person, it will have the same effect if they can have. That means we have to find out the forces in such a way that this force and this force will have combining together should give the force of the single force. Therefore, here the splitting, we have splitted a single inclined force into two forces. One is a vertical force and another horizontal force. So this is what a resolution of force. Now that means take a force, single force F. These are the XY coordinates, and this force, the direction of the force is, it is making an angle of theta with x-axis in counterclockwise direction, and it is going away towards this direction. So this is a force. So we have to split into two components. So how to split this one? This is Fx is a x component, Fy is a y component. That means Fx is, we can say, the horizontal component, and Fy we can call it a vertical component. If we can split this force into these two components, then it is called a resolution of a force. That means combination of Fx and Fy will give the same effect of F. That's what. That means this is a reversal of resultant of a force. There what we have done, if we have two forces, Fx and Fy, we have combined together and found a single force, and we have replaced these forces with a single force. That force is called resultant force. Now what? It is a reverse now. Resolution of force is nothing but splitting a single force into two components which will have same effect of this one. So let us give a proper definition for resolution of a force. Hope you understood the concept. So now, what is the resolution of force? A given force F can be resolved into two or replaced by two forces which together produce the same effects that of force F, as we said. So a given force F is resolved into two forces which together produce the same effect that of force F. So these two forces are called components of force F. These two forces are called the components of force F, and the process of replacing the force into its components is known as a resolution of force into components. So here is a definition, proper definition for resolution of a force. The process of replacing a single force into its components is known as a resolution of force into components. So this is what a resolution of a force. Now, a force can be resolved into two components which are either perpendicular to each other or inclined to each other. That means now in the example what we have seen is one is a vertical component and another one is a horizontal component. In this case, we have resolved into two components which are perpendicular to each other. In case if we resolve like this, then we will call it as, these components are called rectangular components. If two components are perpendicular to one another, then they are known as rectangular components. So rectangular components are nothing but these rectangular components. When we call them as rectangular components, if the resolved forces, that means two components, are perpendicular to each other. If these two components are inclined to each other, then we will call it as an inclined components. So inclined components and rectangular components. Mostly we will be using rectangular components, especially vertical and horizontal components, like that we will resolve. So here it is. So here is a force F which makes an angle of theta. Now this is a x component Fx, or we will call it as a horizontal component, and this is Fy, that is vertical component. Now we have to find out Fx and Fy in such a way that these two combined together will give same effect of this. Now we know that this forms a right angle triangle OAB. Triangle OAB forms a right angle triangle. So OA is Fx component, OB is Fy component, and AB is Fy component, and OB is F component. And the angle theta, which makes the original force F with x-axis theta degrees. So this is how to find out the components of Fx and Y. We know that from the properties of right angle triangle, it is very clear that. So we can use a cos theta. Cos theta is nothing but cos theta is nothing but adjacent by diagonal or adjacent by hypotenuse. So cos theta is nothing but OA by OB. That is cos theta equal to Fx by F. So here it is. So how to find out cos theta? Cos theta is nothing but OA by OB. That is nothing but Fx by F. So from this we can find out Fx value. Therefore Fx is nothing but F into cos theta. So how to find out the x component? If the value F is given and a theta is given, that means direction, magnitude and direction of a force is if it is given, then the x component of that resolution of that force is nothing but F into cos theta, and it is indicated with Fx. Now we know that sine theta is nothing but opposite by hypotenuse. So opposite is nothing but AB, and the diagonal is OB. So sine theta equal to AB by OB. So here it is, sine theta is nothing but AB by OB. That is nothing but Fy by F. So from this we can find out the Fy value, that is vertical component. Therefore Fy is nothing but F into sine theta. These two formula are very important. Fx is nothing but F cos theta, and Fy equal to F sine theta. So whenever a force is given and its magnitude and direction are given, direction in terms of angle makes with x-axis, then x component or horizontal component is nothing but Fx equal to F cos theta, and vertical component is nothing but Fy equal to F sine theta. So by finding out Fx and Fy, we can replace the F with Fx and Fy. So this is what a resolution of a force. Now let us see, try to do one problem. So resolve a force of 100 newtons which makes an angle of 30 degrees with horizontal into two rectangular components. So what we have to do? The force is given, that is 100 newtons, and it is making an angle of 30 degrees with the horizontal. So what we have to do now? We have to resolve this one into two rectangular components. So we know the formula. Let us draw the diagram first. So these are the coordinates, and this is the force vector. This is force 100 newtons, and it makes an angle of 30 degrees. We will call it as a force is F and angle is theta. Now we know that just now we have derived. What is an x component? This is an x component and this is y component. And what is the formula for x component? Fx equal to F into cos theta. Here F means 100 newtons and theta is 30 degrees. Therefore, Fx is nothing but 100 into cos 30. After calculating, we will get it is a 86.6 newtons. Now, how to find out y component? We know that the formula for y component, Fy equal to f sin theta. That is nothing but Fy equal to 100 into sin 30. Sin 30 is nothing but half. So 100 into a half is nothing but 50 newtons. So this is how we have to resolve a force into two rectangular components. So likewise, we can do any number of any type of problems on this, but we have to be very clear that here theta means theta should always be taken from the x-axis and in a counterclockwise direction. Suppose a force is like this, we should not take from this direction, not counterclockwise direction. We should always take theta in counterclockwise. That care we have to take. So this is how we have to do. If time permits, we will do some more problems, or otherwise in the next video we will have more number of problems on the resolution of forces. Actually, when we have a force system or system of forces which are having more number of forces, if at all we want to find out the resolution of forces, when resultant of all those forces, first of all we have to do resolution of forces. That means we have to divide every force in that force system into two components, and then we have to find out total horizontal force and total vertical force, that is net effect of total horizontal force and net effect of total vertical force. From there we can find out the resultant. That means when we discuss about resultant of a coplanar force system, then we will go through all these resolution of forces. Now let us move to the next topic, that is called triangle law of forces. We have seen parallelogram law of forces. Parallelogram law of forces is applicable for two forces which are two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Then when we complete the parallelogram, the resultant is nothing but the diagonal which is passing through this concurrent point, the meeting point of these two forces. So that is that is parallelogram law of forces. Now we will try to understand what is triangular law of forces. And first of all, let us go with the statement. Now statement is like this: if two coplanar forces acting at a point and represented in magnitude and direction by two adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order, then the closing side of their triangle taken in the reverse order represents the resultant of the forces in magnitude and direction. The statement is a little big, but first let us understand. This triangular force is applicable for only two coplanar forces. Only two coplanar forces, and they should act at a point. That means they are concurrent forces. So if we have to take two concurrent forces or two forces acting at a point, and if they represented in magnitude and direction by two adjacent sides of a triangle. Let us take a triangle ABC, and let us take two forces which are represented as in magnitude and direction by two adjacents. Let us take one side is this and the other side. Let us take the first force. F1 is like this, that is on the AB side of a triangle, and the second force F2 is taken on BC side. So two forces are there. Now these two forces are coplanar because they are lying on the same plane, and they are passing through a point. Yes, they meet at a point. There will be a point of concurrency, and if they have taken represented magnitude and direction by two adjacent sides, so they represent two adjacent sides of a triangle, and they are in an order ABC. So if you take a triangle AB, BC and CA is the triangle in an order, or otherwise also we can take like AC, CB and BA as a order, but now we have taken an order as AB, BC and CA. Now these two forces are taken in an order. AB is one force and BC is the other force. Now the closing side, this is the closing side, AC is the closing side, and this closing side of the triangle taken in the reverse order. Reverse order means we have taken like this, And if what all we want to close, we should close like this in a regular manner. If we take in an order, but we are not taking an order. If we have to take, in order to find out the resultant, we have to take in the reverse order. So this R represents the resultant force. Now you can understand now. So two coplanar forces acting at a point and represented by magnitude and direction of two adjacent forces, F1 and F2, as the sides of a triangle in an order, this order. Now the closing side, that is AC, triangle taken in the reverse order, not in the regular order. We are taking the reverse order, represents the resultant of the forces of in magnitude and direction. Therefore, if at all we want to find out the resultant of F1 and F2, so it is nothing but if F1 and F2 are represents magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order, then resultant is nothing but the closing side of the triangle with reverse order in magnitude and direction. This is what a triangular law. Graphically, we can easily find out the resultant if we proceed with a triangular, and analytical way also. But how to prove this one? With the help of parallelogram law of forces, we can prove this one. Here it is. So this is the triangular force figure, what we have shown just now. Now how I am doing this one? I am trying to give a, what I will say, the proof for this one. So now I am representing F like this. So F1 and F2, this is a point of concurrency. So because this is a parallel force, so we can move in any direction, and the magnitude, as long as the magnitude and direction are same, then the force can be moved from here to there, parallelly or collinearly like this. These are. Now let us complete a parallelogram. Now see here, F1 and F2, two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Let us try to complete the parallelogram. Drawing one more force parallel to this, and drawing one more force parallel to this. Now this completes a parallelogram. Now as per the parallelogram law, when it is two adjacent sides or two forces represent the adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then the resultant is nothing but the diagonal passing through the point. This is the point of meeting. So the resultant. Now this is nothing but this is the result. So here we have a proof for triangle law. So triangle law can be derived from the parallelogram law of forces. Now, what is polygon law of forces? It's similar to triangular law. In triangle law, we will have only two forces. We can't use more than two forces in triangular law of forces. But in polygon law of forces, we can use any number of forces as long as they form a polygon. So in a force system or system of forces where number of forces are there, and if all these forces can form a polygon, then one at least leaving one side, all sides. For example, if you take a pentagon, in pentagon, if they can form four forces or sides of a pentagon in an order, then the fifth side in reverse direction will be the resultant of all these four forces. Now let us go through the statement what we have. If any number of coplanar forces acting on a particle be represented in a magnitude and direction by the sides of a polygon taken in order, then the resultant of all the forces may be represented in magnitude and direction by the closing side of the polygon taken in opposite order. The statement is similar to triangular law of forces, except that there we have used a triangle, here we have to use a polygon. The rest of the things are same. All these things should be coplanar forces and they should form as a polygon. So let us graphically see how to represent. This is force 1, this is force 2, and this is force 3, and this is force 4. Now all these forces forming a polygon. Now the last side we have to join here. We have to join. If we join like this, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, and if we join like this, it will become a polygon with 5 sides. But if in order to get the resultant, we have to take in a reverse order. So the resultant force is represented in the reverse order, and this is the resultant of all these four forces. So again, we will see this is force 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the resultant will be in the reverse direction, starting from F1, starting of F1 to the end of the F4. Now this is the resultant R of all the forces of F1, F2, F3, and F4. Likewise, we can take any number of sides. Like polygon means many sides. It can be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, any hundreds. But what they have to do is they should be taken in order. If the forces are such a way that they form a polygon, then the closing side will give the resultant of that entire force system. This is a polygon law of forces. Now we will try to understand what is Lami's theorem. So here is a statement. If three coplanar and concurrent forces are in equilibrium, so this Lami's theorem is applicable for coplanar forces, that to three coplanar forces, and these three coplanar forces should be concurrent. We cannot use four forces for Lami's theorem, and we cannot use non-concurrent forces. So the necessity condition for applying Lami's theorem is we should have three coplanar and concurrent forces, and they should be in equilibrium, and these forces should be in equilibrium. That means, what do you mean by equilibrium? Net force on the system is zero. That means it is stable. If we act all these forces also, the system will be stable and it will not move anywhere in any direction. That means they are in equilibrium. So if three coplanar and concurrent forces are in equilibrium, the magnitude of each force is proportional to the side of the angle between other two forces. That means, so to understand the statement, let us represent it graphically. So this is a first force P1, P, this is the second force Q, and this is the third force R. There are three forces. All three forces are coplanar and they are concurrent. This is a point of concurrency. That means they are meeting at this point. So we have fulfilled all these two conditions. They are coplanar as well as concurrent forces, and they are only three in number. Now, so then they are giving some relation between P, Q, and R. They are proportional to the sine of the angle between the two forces. So let us see the angles. Let us, alpha is angle between Q and R, beta is the angle between P and R, and gamma is the angle between Q and P, for example. So if these are the angles, then as per the statement, what it gives is P by sine alpha. That means the magnitude of the force by divided by the sine of the angle between other two forces. What are the other two forces? Q and R. What is the angle between them? Alpha. Therefore, P by sine alpha is equal to Q. This is Q by sine beta. Beta is the angle between other two forces, other forces of forces other than Q. That is P and R. So Q by sine beta, and similarly R by sine gamma. So this is a very important formula for Lami's theorem. So if three coplanar and concurrent forces are in equilibrium, then the magnitude of each force is proportional to the sine of the angle between the opposite forces. So P by sine of alpha is equal to Q by sine of beta equal to R by sine of gamma, opposite angle of opposite forces. That means other two forces. So this is the Lami's theorem. So now let us try to understand these are the things. So far we have seen what is the resolution of a force. Resolution of force into components is nothing but a single force is replacing by two forces which will have the same effect to components. That is called resolution of a force. And we have seen triangular law and polygon law and Lami's theorem. Now let us try to solve some problems based on the Lami's theorem. In the next video lessons, we will try to do some problems on resolution of forces as well as resultant of a force system. So I'm sharing a video which is available in YouTube. This is a very good video explaining the problems. So thanks for those who have shared these problems in YouTube. And also I'm thankful to the owner or author of this what we call it as the video maker. Here we go.
A girl is sitting in an old automobile tire which is suspended as shown. If the girl and the tire together have a mass of 60 kg, determine the tensions in the ropes AC and BC. This is the given figure. If you observe there, the mass of the girl along with the tire is given as 60 kg. So here you have to convert this mass into weight. So for that we know the relation W is equal to mg. So through that we can convert, no problem. And if you observe there, AC is a string and BC is also a string. Along the strings we can keep tensile force. A string can experience tensile force only. So here when you observe the two tensile forces along the string and weight of the girl along with the tire, so all those forces are meeting at point C, right? So we have to consider free body diagram of point C or equilibrium of point C. So let us draw the free body diagram for point C or equilibrium of point C now. So you can write free body diagram of point C or equilibrium of point C. So first let us denote that point. So this is the point C. From this point, so the weight of the girl along with the tire is acting vertically downwards. That is given as 60 kg. So mass is given there. So you have to convert that one into newtons. First consider the mass. Mass is 60 kg. So I know the relation between weight and mass. So W equal to mg. So which is nothing but 60 into 9.81. So which is equal to 588.6. 588.6 newtons. So this is the weight. So that is acting vertically downwards from point C as shown now, 588.6 newtons. And if you observe from the point C, there is a connection to point B. So it is nothing but a string. Along the string there will be tensile force. So you have to draw a force which is away from the point. Why? Because tensile force will be away from the point. So consider it is tension along BC, right? So I will denote with TBC. So which means tension along BC. So instead of T you can use S also, because it is string. S is the string or otherwise T for tension. It is given in the figure itself. It is making an inclination of 30 degrees with horizontal. And if you observe, C is having a connection with point A. So that is nothing but a string. So along the string there will be tensile force. So that will be also away from the point. And you have to denote that force. So that is nothing but tension along AC, right? And it is given that it is making an inclination of 45 degrees with horizontal. So we have to denote that. So this is the free body diagram of point C or equilibrium of point C. So in order to apply Lami's theorem, there should be the number of forces and the system should be under equilibrium. So here, even after the application of forces, the system is under equilibrium and there are three number of forces only. So now I can apply Lami's theorem. In order to apply Lami's theorem, I should know the angle between each and every force. So for our convenience, I have redrawn the free body diagram of point C. So here this is 30 degrees and we know that this is right angle. So the total angle is 30 plus 90. So that is 120 degrees. I will note that value here, 120 degrees. And this is 45 degrees and it is right angle. So that is 45 plus 90, which is 135 degrees. And here in a straight line the angle is 180. So this is nothing but 180 minus 45 plus 30, which is nothing but 180 minus 75, and it is 105 degrees. Now I am going to apply Lami's theorem. First I am going to consider TAC. So TAC divided by close TAC. So when you close TAC, so the remaining two forces are TBC and 588.6, right? And the angle between those two is 120 degrees. So that means TAC is directly proportional to sine 120. So there I can write TAC divided by sine 120 is equal to, now close TBC. So when you close TBC, so the remaining forces are TAC and 588.6 and the angle between those two is 135. So that means for TBC, the opposite angle is sine 135, right? Sine of opposite angle is 135. So which will be equal to, so the remaining force 588.6 newtons divided by opposite angle is 105 degrees. So that means when you close this one, so the remaining two forces are these and the angle between those two is 105 degrees. Sine 105 degrees. So from this relation you can find the value of TAC as well as TBC. So if you want to find TAC, equate these two. If you want to find TBC, so equate these two. First I am going to find TAC. So for that I am considering the relation TAC divided by sine 120 is equal to 588.6 divided by sine 105. From that TAC is equal to 588.6 into sine 120 divided by sine 105. So when you calculate that, you will get 527.72 newtons. So this is the value for TAC. Similarly, if you want to find TBC, so equate these two. So when you equate those two, TBC is equal to sine 35, 135 will be gone to this side. So 588.6 sine 135 divided by sine 105. So if you simplify, you will get 430.88 newtons. So this is the value of tensile force in string AC and this is the value of tensile force in string BC. Hope you are able to understand this.
So hope you enjoyed this problem, and we will go through one more problem, this is also taken from YouTube only. Somebody is thanks for the authors of the original authors of this problem. So those who recorded, original recorders of this lesson. Let me share.
Lamy's theorem, problem 1. A lamp weighing 50 newtons is suspended from a ceiling. A horizontal force of magnitude 20 newtons acts on the string that is used to suspend the lamp. Calculate the tension in the string and the angle of inclination of the string from the vertical direction. A lamp weighing 50 newtons is suspended from a ceiling. A horizontal force of magnitude 20 newtons acts on the string. As a result of this force, the string becomes like this. Calculate the tension in the string and the angle of inclination of the string from the vertical direction. The weight of the lamp acts vertically downwards. The angle between the vertical force and the horizontal force is 90 degrees. This angle is also 90 degrees. This angle is 180 minus theta. Now, let's try and apply Lamy's theorem to this problem. Comparing the two diagrams, A is equal to 50 newtons. B is the tension force that we need to find. C is 20 newtons. Alpha is 90 plus theta. Beta is 90 degrees. And gamma is 180 minus theta. Let us substitute these values in the equation of Lamy's theorem. A by sine alpha is equal to B by sine beta equal to C by sine gamma becomes 50 by sine 90 plus theta is equal to B by sine 90 equal to 20 by sine 180 minus theta. Let us use some trigonometric relationships here. Sine 90 plus theta is cos theta. Sine 90 degrees is 1. And sine 180 minus theta is sine theta. Consider 50 by cos theta is equal to 20 by sine theta. This becomes sine theta by cos theta is equal to 20 by 50. Sine theta by cos theta is tan theta and 20 by 50 is 0.4. So theta is equal to tan inverse of 0.4, which is 21.8 degrees. Using this value of theta in the equation, sine 21.8 is 0.37. 20 by 0.37 is 54.054. So B is equal to 54.054. Now we have calculated the two values that we wanted. The tension along the string is equal to B, that is 54.054 newtons. The inclination of the string from the vertical direction is equal to theta, that is 21.8 degrees.
So, dear friends, hope you have enjoyed this video. And this video is especially made for diploma students and of course this can be viewed by others, but these the problems in Lami's theorem will be very helpful to you. And in the next video lesson we will go through other topics called the problems on resolution of forces. Okay, thank you.